Now I would remind you, brothers, of the gospel I preached to you, which you've received, in which you stand, and by which you are being saved, if you hold fast to the word I preached to you, unless you believed in vain. It is Sunday, the 8th day of January 2023. Clive Walsh here, and it's time for the reading of our devotional thought for today. It is entitled Regular Reminders, and it's coming from the devotional book Truth for Life, the second edition, by pastor and author Alistair Begg. And today's verse is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 and 2. And it reads, Now I would remind you, brothers, of the gospel I preached to you, which you've received, in which you stand, and by which you are being saved, if you hold fast to the word I preached to you, unless you believed in vain. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 and 2. Pastor Alistair Begg writes, The good news of the gospel can easily be forgotten or taken for granted. If we begin to feel that we need to go beyond it, or we find it irrelevant in our lives or affections, we should be concerned, not complacent. Just as young children need regular reminders to keep them from forgetting what they need to remember, we need to recall routinely the transforming power of Jesus Christ in human hearts. Why? Because the gospel is not just the way into salvation, but the way of salvation. It is not only the ABC of the Christian life, but the A to Z. It is the word to which we must hold fast. As Paul describes it in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3, life without the gospel is like living with a veil covering our eyes. We are blinded by our own sin, by our pursuit of comforts, or doing good enough things, or even by our own theology or religious adherence. This clouded vision is common to all mankind by nature as we face a no-entry sign at the gate of heaven. The road is flooded and there is apparently no way through. But the gospel, the glorious news, is this: there is one who stands ready to clear the way. In his living, dying, and resurrection, Jesus lived the life we can't, died the death we deserved, and conquered death once and for all so that all who believed can have a relationship with God. On the day we first understood the weight of this, the day when God's grace opened our clouded eyes, unplugged our ears, and softened our hardened hearts, we could run no other way than towards Him, crying, "Save me!" As the old hymn says, Long my imprisoned spirit lay, fast bound in sin and nature's night. Thine eyes diffused a quickening ray. I woke, the dungeon flamed with light. My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose, went forth, and followed thee. Long my imprisoned spirit lay, fast bound in sin and nature's night. Thine eyes diffused a quickening ray. I woke, the dungeon flamed with light. My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose, went forth, and followed thee. Now, having run to Him as the gospel bids us, we need to remain with Him as the gospel reminds us. So, where does the gospel find you today? Are you living in the freedom? Or are you still occasionally living as though imprisoned, trying with all your might to find the freedom only Christ gives? To the Christian, the gospel is and must be as water in a dry land. It is the priceless, payment-free water that the Lord offers. It is the water of life. Revelation chapter 21, verse 6. Be sure to rehearse to yourself the simple gospel today and every day, so that it never grows cold to you, and so you will live in the freedom that Christ died to win for you. Glorious gospel indeed. May you truly rehearse it to you often, even today, that we never get complacent, that we never forget the sacrifice and what Jesus did for us on that cross. Regular reminders, we need it daily. May God by His Spirit remind you of just how much He loves you, and may that just ignite you to passionately respond to Him in love and devotion. Well, Clive Walsh here, encouraging you to continue reading through the Word, Genesis chapter 20, 21, and 22, as well as Romans chapter 8, verses 1 through 21, and may the Lord richly bless you.